Oh, what is going on, everybody? We are back once again with another edition of Wrestling Republic's Off the Air immediately following NXT. And we've got a crew of three of us that normally hang out on Tuesday nights. The Tuesday Night Delight is taking care of the Tuesday Night Delight Junior this evening. So I figured we need a replacement. And if you watched NXT like we did, which hopefully you did, because obviously we're reviewing it on this evening's show. But one Ricky Starks debuted. And if you watch any of our other programs over here at WR, you know a certain friend of mine has been speaking about a certain Ricky Starks situation for a long time. And we finally got our answer. So I brought in, out of the bullpen, the ultimate substitute, the queen of Wrestling Republic, all the way from New York City. Megan Ambers, what's going on?
Hey, everybody. As you can see how much it meant for me to be on here because I don't have no makeup on. As you can see, you can see all my natural beauty. But I had to come on tonight because for almost a year, this has been, a moment in the making. So happy to be here. Haven't been on off the air in some months, I believe. It's been a few months since last year. But as always, just happy to be here, y'all. So let's get to it.
I'm absolutely stoked about it too. But before we do, there is no off the air without somebody from Louisville, Kentucky that I always forget. Can you remind me again, Driz? What was it we should do again?
Good morning, afternoon, and evening. It's the guy you should believe in. Your boy. You love him. Y'all love to see him. The wrestling plug himself. I am Dryzzy. And it's been a fire night. NXT had a dope go-home show. What? I could clutch my pearls for a sec.
Woo.
That is crazy. Hands down the best go-home show that NXT's ever had. Let's get into this mess. That is crazy.
I'm with you. It's a fire night. Let's keep it rolling over here, though. We've got all kinds of comments already out of the gates, too. We got Bobby Petito with what's up, guys? What's going on? Bobby, good to have you as always. DCX Warlord with the Revolution was televised on NXT. Yes, sir. We're going to get right into that. What up from Podcast Grifter Podcast? Love that as well. What up, my friend? And then the Revolution is also televised from Bobby Petito. And then we had DCX Warlord adding, he believes in Joe Hendry as well as Dryzzy.
Yes, we both exist in the same universe.
Yes,
You
sir.
can believe in both of us. We're not like some that don't allow you to believe in. You only got to believe in one.
Let's jump right into it. Let's talk Ricky Starks, because that's what we got. Yeah, I
don't got enough. I don't got enough ways to do that.
I don't want to knock my hat off, and everyone will know I'm bald. But either way, Ricky Starks is in NXT. And we've seen what happened in Defy. We've seen what's happened over the last year, as Megan mentioned in the intro as well. And Megan, I'm going to you out of the gates because we finally got an answer. We've been waiting. Ricky Starks in NXT, cutting a promo in the middle of the crowd. Oh, it was beautiful, wasn't it?
It was. I mean, like I said, I've been pretty much just covering this story since the news came out that there was something going on with Ricky and the fact that he wasn't on TV for almost a year. And I actually had an opportunity to talk to him last year, and he kind of hinted at who was behind getting him off of TV. And between him being pulled off of GCW, appearing at House of Glory a few weeks ago, winning the Defy title, just this past week, and now appearing on NXT tonight after the news of him being taking off of the roster just yesterday. Um, you could have knocked me over with a feather. There was no indication that he was going to be on NXT tonight. There was no indication that he was going to even be in a WWE ring, just the day after the news came out that he wasn't no longer a part of AEW. Um, I'm happy for Ricky. I am. I am extremely happy for him. This was a long time coming. He has been screaming from the rooftops that of his mistreatment, of him just wanting to wrestle. He just want to do what he loves, which is wrestling. And no one should be I don't feel no one should be deprived from doing the one thing that they love like he was. And you know, I think a lot of higher ups in WWE saw how he was mistreated. So it really doesn't surprise me that they got him on TV as quickly as they did. Maybe they see it as a point and laugh moment for Tony. Maybe, maybe not. But you continue to mistreat those that has done good by you, and you are bound to pretty much get kicked in the teeth. And right now, that is what is going on with Mr. Tony Khan.
I totally hear where you're coming from on this one, especially with Ricky Starks, because of the fact that he was available and wanted to work, wanted to be on television. I get it. One thing that I do think is a major positive coming out of this, though, is things work themselves out in a good way, right? And while that was a muddy situation for Ricky Starks, and wouldn't wish it upon anybody, like I'm in total agreement with you, Megan. Like I can't fathom being in those shoes where you're like, dang it, just let me work. Let me do my thing. I know I'm good at it. I can't fathom how frustrating that is. But thankfully, this time they worked themselves out. And business is never perfect. It isn't, whether it's wrestling or in any industry. But this time, Ricky got his spot here. And what he can do with this, I cannot wait to see the picture he paints with this new canvas. Right? That to me is what I'm most looking forward to. Now, Drizzy, obviously, we gotta stay on this subject.
Mhm.
And Megan broke down, especially Ricky Stark's history.
Mm.
And there's this long narrative that we see from the IWC about people going like, well, they won't know him. Oh, they knew him. Like,
Oh,
yeah,
definitely.
they knew
Sure.
him.
Nobody knew who he was. They just knew to stand
Yeah, that was
around him and cheer when he came out.
the
Nobody
ultimate.
knows.
That was the ultimate. No, you're right moment. Like, no, they knew Ricky Starks the second he entered the building. My question to you is, number one, your thoughts on the debut, but more importantly, where does he go first? Who do we see Ricky Starks challenge first? And then I really want to talk about that with all three of
Oh
us.
my goodness. Ricky Starks in an NXT arena is a shot in a desperate, much needed shot to the main event scene in NXT. That has been the weak point of NXT for the last year now. Ever since Mello, Braun, all of them were called up, that division has suffered severely, having only three true stars to use, and you can't blow that load that early. They now have another serious main eventer to add along with Ethan Page, Trick, and Obafemi, and it's such he's such a good worker, and he's gonna add such a more of a artistic element to everything, which is going to be great for all the new eyes that are popping up on NXT. It's I it's exciting. This is why this is why we're wrestling fans. These are the things that you love to see. It takes you back to the '90s with the Monday Night Wars. You're watching Raw one week, and then somebody who was on Raw pops up on Nitro, and vice versa. Like this is real good stuff. I can't say what I really want to say, but this is really good stuff. Now,
No, it's been more than 7 seconds. You can say it. It's good shit.
such good shit. It's such good shit. I forget about that rule. I gotta keep that rule in the back of my head.
We're square. It's off the air.
But if we're if Ricky's coming in, the very first thing we need to do is we need Ricky Starks versus Trick Williams. That
Mm.
is the main event written all over it. I want to see the mic battle between the two. I want to see these two go hand to hand with each other. Just give me one really good main event, and I know the both of them can do it. I I I just know it. It'll put NXT on the map.
Okay. All right. I can't lie to you. If the poster and the T-shirt doesn't say Trick versus Rick, I'll probably lose my mind. But I'm all in. And no pun intended. Dang it! Why did I do that?
It's
Shoot!
such a it's money. It's money. Trick versus Rick.
Did I say all in?
Let
Dang
it
it!
build.
Let that be the TV special.
Let,
It's all in. We're all
yeah.
in.
I say let's build up to that. Let's build up to that because we know eventually Trick is going to get called up to the main roster. Let's build up to that. Now, if I wanted to be petty, I would put up the two most recent former AEW wrestlers up against each other. We have seen what Shawn Michaels have been able to do with Ethan Page. He has made him a star, a far bigger star than he was in Ring of Honor or AEW. Put these two up against each other first. That's what I see first.
Here's my
Ethan
only fear.
Page and Ricky Starks.
Here's my only fear with that, Megan, because I love the idea, and on paper I think it's perfect. But here's my fear: Ricky Starks is so dang good on the microphone. Doesn't he punk out Ethan Page in this when he goes over eventually? And doesn't he punk out Ethan Page in a way that sort of muddies the waters on Ethan Page's work he's put in since he's came over as well? I would keep those two away.
I mean,
That,
but Trick
out of fear of that.
If you want to talk Mike, Trick has out Mike Ethan more than enough times. They even had diss tracks against each other.
I agree.
So I don't feel like it would do too much damage. And in fact, Ethan could even bring up some AEW shit. There might be some, they could sling. There's enough dirt that has happened to them in the other promotion that they could literally throw at each other. I think there's enough to where they can kind of, I don't think one can outdo the other in a way to where it would be bad. I just feel like if you give Ricky and Trick now, who does Ricky go after that? Who? Obafemi?
Nah,
and then after Obafemi, then who? I just feel like there's steps. They were able to get away with that with Ethan. When Ethan first came, he went straight for Trick Williams. It worked for him. But at the same time, he also had to take a step down. And now he's feuding with Javon. But before that, he had Joe Hendry. And even that little thing with CM Punk, which I hope soon they'll bring that back at some point.
And one thing we're learning about Ethan is he can take a loss and be just fine.
I think here's my issue. I appreciate Ethan Page. I think he's really good. And like Unrealized Thoughts over on Instagram has a comment that says Ricky Starks is a massive update from what we've been getting in the men's division. I do think he injects life into it in a way that it has been necessary for sure on the men's side, especially what we saw, which we'll get into later, the stuff about, Tony D and everything we're seeing at that part of the card. Obafemi being very dominant, right? You have the top of the division is great. There's mid card wise, it's a little thinner. And as far as challengers are concerned, you don't have anybody that's a legitimate threat necessarily. And that's where I could see myself being okay with a Starks going after Trick right out of the gates. That's not what we saw tonight, though. So I don't want to over the top project when it comes to that one either. Like if he was going to go after Trick right away, the same way Ethan Page did, it probably would have been today. And
Right.
that's not the way it went down. I would argue, thankfully, to your point earlier, Megan, and yours as well, Drizzy. Like it's a funky situation. I think that has to happen eventually, whether it's main roster or NXT. I don't know if it matters when it comes to that matchup. Ricky Starks, Trick Williams is a where do I sign up type of a match. There's no doubt about that, but we could talk about this the rest of the night, and we got to get into predictions as well at some point. So let's talk about two more matches really quickly. Let's talk about Cora Jade versus Bayley, which leads to our fatal 4-way now. Everybody's involved. Everybody's involved. But Cora Jade just pinned Bayley. After we heard the entrance music, I wanted the inflatable arm flailing tube bend. That was the stone unturned in my eyes. The what is it? The wacky inflatable arm flailing tube men. That's what
they call them. They call them the Bayley buddies.
Yeah, the Bayley buddies.
Call them the Bayley buddies. Yeah,
that's the short version. But I know them as the wacky inflatable arm flailing tube men. And we needed those, but either way, we got the entrance from Roxanne. And I'm going to you first on this one. Cora Bayley. Cora gets the victory. Over Bayley, another huge victory. Are we looking at Cora Jade NXT champion, or are we looking at a bundle of call-ups here?
This looks Cora Jade has a huge amount of momentum right now. Between pulling double duties on NXT and TNA, she's on a roll. And it's a sneaky roll. It's not the big one because all eyes are really on the inspiration, the beautiful madness of Julia, the butting heads of Bayley and Roxanne. This match is dangerous for Julia in so many different ways. Not because Bayley and Roxanne are just so good, not because they're also just hell bent on destroying each other and that they could easily take each other out. It's because nobody is paying attention to the person who's on a streak right now and could easily roll through all three of them and nobody would even see it coming. Cora Jade is really knocking at the door of taking that belt from Julia. And if before tonight, if you would have told me that Cora Jade probably would have won it, I'd probably laugh at you. I wouldn't take you serious. But tonight, that win over Bayley is a huge boost to the amount of momentum she's already had from dealing with Masha Slamovich on TNA, who is no slouch. Cora should be taken seriously, and all eyes really need to be paying attention there because if Roxanne, Bayley, and Julia do not take their eyes off each other and pay attention to her, Cora Jade will walk out of that match with the women's title.
I think I'm with you. Not to think. I kind of like I don't want to be the little engine that could here, but I think I can. Like Cora Jade is starting to add up. Okay, I also have to admit my mind was blown. I didn't notice this. Grifter podcast. is just Coach 23 undercover. And that's almost disappointing to me because
Not the T. He T.
please tell me Michael Jordan didn't take away Coach 23 from you. I've been a lifelong Bulls fan. And that would just be disappointing. Like, how did you lose Coach 23? Now I'm curious. It's thrown me for a loop. But seriously, Cora, Jade, Bayley, Fatal 4-Way, Roxanne Perez. If it's not Cora, who is it? And how is it not already Monday Night Roxanne after that appearance in the Rumble, that showing in the Rumble from Roxanne? This is where it's frustrating to me, Megan. Before I toss you this question, Roxanne Perez shouldn't and can't win this match. But we saw what she did in Indianapolis. And now we have Cora Jade. We also have Bayley involved. Who wins this match and why?
Julia is retaining.
Okay.
Honestly, Julia is retaining. However, I am in agreement with Dryzzy when it comes down to Cora Jade. I watched her match on TNA. I think that was last week, and I tweeted, Cora Jade is a force to be reckoned with. I don't think I can say it any better than Dryzzy did. There is, I feel like at this point they are showcasing Cora as a potential women's champion. If she's not now in this fatal 4-way with Julia and Bayley and Roxanne, she is also eyeing the TNA Knockout Championship on TNA. So I feel like they are definitely showcasing that Cora has what it takes to be a women's champion. And I feel that at some point she will be. And I also feel like if there is at one point actual NXT star that do win a TNA, shit just fell. If there is an NXT star that has the potential of taking a TNA title, I do feel like it is Cora. I do feel like she is that one potential person who can go to TNA, take the title, bring it back to NXT.
That is a huge call, and I actually like that a lot too because it's interesting. And we have a ton of comments also supporting Julia retaining. We've got Unrealized Thoughts. We've got comments over here on Instagram with a ton of them here. We've got Julia will retain, then Cora J can move on from her feud with Masha Slamovich. We've got, tons of them. Also, that's what love that. By the way, reach out if you need any help. Podcast Coach 23. Anyway, a lot of Julia retains. Bobby Petito. Julia retains at Vengeance Day, and Jordan Grace shows up at Vengeance Day. Do Julia versus Jordan Grace at Stand and Deliver. There you go. I think that's possible as well. Cora winning the TNA title is what I wanted to get to. That's why I ran through the comments so quickly. I apologize. Because, Megan, that makes the most sense. Talk about like just a little notch on the record that makes perfect sense at Cora's age, Cora's stage of her career, before a call up down the road to win the title over in TNA, to do something unique to everybody from her NXT class, finger quotes, if we're going to go that route, right?
They've been teasing that for the good portion of the year. If you're not having NXT stars challenging TNA stars for their titles, and it's vice versa. So they've definitely been teasing the idea that one day someone will get lucky and take the title from the opposite company. We had it tonight with JDC. Is that his name?
His mama named him Fandango. I'm calling him Fandango.
The artist formerly known as Fandango.
Yes.
Fandango.
And, even though he didn't, but, that was still a tease that it is bound to happen. Now, if that is the plan, I will hope that Cora Jade is the one that they actually pull the trigger on. I hope that she's the one that they actually make that first merge happen.
The first shot.
I think that absolutely makes sense. Let's do one more, then let's get into predictions.
Ooh.
Okay. Let's talk about Tony D'Angelo, Rich Holland, main event, steel cage. Who would that hurt? Mostly the competitors involved. But we've also got the Izzy Dame factor here. Things get a little muddy at the end. Izzy Dame not in the family,
No.
hanging out with Spears the whole time, right under all of our noses. And I'm not disappointed, but I'm disappointed. I hate to say it.
I got excited. I was excited for saying like, oh, the family's growing. They got Izzy
That
Dame
was
in.
cool.
Like she's pulling crowbars out of her jacket and stuff. Like, oh yeah, she's in this. Yeah, she's ready to get dirty and down and dirty with him. But no. She wants to hang out with creepy Spears and I don't even know what we're talking about with Jensen, and I don't even know the other guy's name.
I don't know if I don't know. The other thing is with Briggs and Jensen weren't perfect. But we've got Briggs in a tag team with a sumo wrestler.
His young boy.
And then we've got Jensen in hanging out with Sean Spears.
He's in a cult.
And I really do like odd pairings and things like that. But just if you're asking me, it doesn't seem like they really hang out in either scenario. Am I the only one that thinks that?
All right, so this is what this whole situation reminds me of. You ever seen those old episodes of Criminal Minds where there's a charismatic leader and he's just got followers that just look of all walks of life? So you have your hot chick that believes everything he says. You have your bum that's like been living under a car for like the last 5 months, believing and coming into it, and then you have like the charismatic guy's bodyguard. That's exactly what they look like. They look like some Criminal Minds antagonists. That's what they look like. It's. I was jokingly calling them the conspiracy, but you know what? It fits. Sean Spears' character currently is more about conspiracies. This is he's talking to the masses and grabbing followers. It's almost like he's doing a more of a modern day version of a Bray Wyatt of sorts. Not as he's doing the backwoods, you're my followers and I'm mystical or anything. It's like believe in me and I will make sure that you are good type stuff.
100%.
So okay. So who's the better cult leader? Him or Karrion Kross? That's the question I have. I feel like Karrion got more bodies under his belt than
I would say Karrion, except for that they just cut half his faction.
I don't think he's a good cult leader. I don't think Karrion is a good cult leader. I just think Karrion is a guy.
I say that, but
I think Karrion is more of a you believe in me from watching me. You don't have to follow my teachings or not. He's not a teacher. I don't see him as. I see him as he's just like more of a prophecy or a prophet of some sort.
He's like a devil's advocate. Like he just
like that.
Yes, he's the bad voice in your head.
Yeah, but he has the ability
over your shoulder like butt.
But was Spears doing that with Izzy? Or was she just playing the whole time? Did he actually turn her? Or was she playing Tony the whole time? That's the question.
I don't know.
Because then it will go back to like Kross. Like when it comes down to Kross, he'll sit there, he'll tell you, like, hey, I know what you're thinking. And you should do that. Okay.
Comment of the day from DCX Warlord right here. He's the voice in Randy's head.
Well, look, if that's the case, then we need to put them two.
That is the Mania match.
Yes.
You need
Cross
to
and
have
Randy.
Randy come, and you need to have Cross meet him, whisper some in his ear, tell him Cody ain't shit. You want that title? Go get that title. He ain't your friend. You know, and just get that ball rolling.
Ooh, that's a storyline. That's a Mania storyline too, right there.
That's what I'm saying.
Let that be the way that y'all introduce Cross into the main event scene too.
Can you imagine the way that
He's got to
Cross
get through
delivers that
Cody.
window?
Cody's got to get through Randy and Cross. Like,
Because it seems
man,
they
it's
keep
one of those where it's
avoiding.
like-
It seems like they keep avoiding Cross from talking. Like he'll talk to people who has been in proximity of Cody, but they seem to like keep them separated.
The Miz one was good.
yes.
The Miz interaction was well played.
Mhm.
I would almost call that the highlight of Cross's like recent run.
You think
For
so?
lack of
Because
what-
I think
like-
what he's doing with Sammy.
No.
Well, no, I think it's really good, but I mean, like, it was just that was where you were like, oh no, he's found something here.
But you have to understand, like, why I say Cross and Sammy is because even with Sammy being a part of the bloodline, Roman couldn't corrupt him. Roman couldn't get him to turn on Kevin. Roman couldn't get him to change. He ended up turning on Roman. I think Cross is probably the only one that can bring that old NXT version of Sammy out, on top of, you know, getting beat up by your friend and him saying that he will never forgive you and he hates you. I think that plays along with it, him getting eliminated. I know this is NXT, I'm sorry.
You're good,
But just
you're good,
you
you're
know,
good.
just I could see how it's building. But
I think it's fair. And I mean, we're talking about all NXT alumni, so don't even trip, by the way. At all. But I will say, Megan, we should probably get on to predictions at this stage. Don't you think? It's prediction time. It is prediction time. Dryzzy, out of the gates, what is our first match we'll be predicting for Vengeance Day? In the DMV up in DC. Let's go.
We got 6 matches, ladies and gentlemen. 6 of Vengeance Day is Saturday evening. And the first match we're going to talk about is our good buddy Eduardo Leviticus Thorpe versus Trick Daddy Dollars, Trick Williams in a strap match. Just confirmed tonight. Megan, who do you got?
Well, you know, I got Trick. I was a little unsure, and I think a lot of people was a little unsure on where they was going with this match ending last week with Eddie whipping that Trick. But I don't know. I want to say Trick, but I feel like something is going to happen. So I might just go with Eddie. I feel like Eddie might take this win. I'm not sure, but I think he might take this win. Trust me, it hurts my heart.
That hurt
but
my
I feel
heart.
like I don't know. I mean, Eddie been losing his matches. Last match that he was in with Trick, he lost that one. Oba ended up being champion. I just feel like, you know, look, Trick has climbed up the ladder. He's done really well. He's a 2-time NXT heavyweight champion.
Yeah.
But, you know, you meet the same people you meet climbing up the ladder. It's the same people you meet coming down. And this might be the ebbs and flows for Trick. So maybe, you know, this is one of those ebbs for Trick.
Yeah.
Eddie Thorpe. He might be one of them ebbs. Look, you said they're making faces now, but I'm telling you, when he do lose,
it makes me sad because you're convincing.
I'm gonna hop up on here.
This
I'm,
is
I'm,
your
I'm,
fault. It's not anybody involved's fault. This is your convincing. This is making me sad.
I'm just, I don't know. I like I said, I want Trick to win. I do, but it's just something about the story is telling me that if Trick wins, the story is over. I don't feel like the story is necessarily over. I think they're really trying to build a feud between them two. And we know that when it comes down to feuds, you win and you lose.
Yep. Is it my
It's
pick?
just, I think it's just this Trick losing a strap match during this month. I
Yeah,
think that's what's weighing
that-
on Trick. That's
Is
what's
it my
weighing.
pick?
I get it.
I feel like we
Is it
can't
my
have.
pick?
I feel like it's an unwritten rule that black people
Drizzy,
cannot be in strap matches in February and lose.
Driz, I'm gonna give you
I
the
know.
next. I'm gonna get my pick out of the way. You couldn't pay. There's not enough money in the world to pay me to pick against Trick Williams in this match. Trick Williams goes over dominantly in an absolute no. But I hope it's a great match. But in all seriousness, Trick Williams goes over. I think that's the only logical move. I understand Eddie Thorpe. I understand the gimmick. I do understand where we're going here. I mean, on top, Megan had me convinced, and then the Black History Month thing. I'm in stitches here, my friends. It's like there's all kinds of factors at play, but at the end of the day, I do think Trick Williams gets the victory. Almost no doubt in my mind. And that's where I'm going. But obviously, Drizzy, you gotta get your pick.
We definitely know my pick. I'm just going to go ahead and say, look, Shawn Michaels, HBK, Mr. Heartbreak, sir. It's been a good week. Kendrick Lamar performed at the Super Bowl. The Eagles won. Drake is now going viral and will be going viral for the rest of the year.
A minor.
Can we
Whoops.
can we not whip a black man in February? Please, I'm begging you. This is not. This is. I feel like it's an unwritten rule. So I say all this to say I understand what we're trying to do. We're trying to add people to the main event scene, which I do applaud you for that. But if we're gonna do this with Eddie Thorpe, we have to drop the. Well, I guess he's not doing that too much more. He isn't doing the EDM thing too much more, and that was my biggest gripe with his character. So, if we're gonna really push Eddie Thorpe in this, let's just go ahead and go all the way Indian. Let's go with his heritage and go deep into this. But yeah, I'm picking Trick.
And Sean said, "Look, I gave y'all Ricky, right? I gave y'all Ricky. I can't give y'all everything." He said, "I gave y'all Ricky. I just gonna have to work with that. I gotta work with that."
Because I'm telling you, last week when I seen that strap come out, like I just heard
Listen.
I heard lift every voice singing, "Oh my God, no!"
You heard that? I heard a change is gonna come.
Oh, child, no.
Change is gonna come. Thank you.
But yeah, well, I
Just
hope
you-
I'm wrong.
Okay.
That's all.
What
I hope
we got up next, Driz?
Oh, okay. Next match we have our tag team of last year, 2024. Fraxium will be going 2-on-2 against Josh Briggs and I'm gonna mess his name up. Inamura. Because I'm not
Yes.
using that.
No, you got it right.
Yoshiki Inamura.
I think you got it.
They are gonna need to come up with a team name really quick. But Megan, who do you have?
Fraxium, I guess, because they don't seem to lose their matches. I don't know. I mean, I've seen them go. They have gone through a lot of tag teams that I felt the belt should have changed hands, but Fraxium, that's what I'm going with.
Okay, so I find this super interesting because normally I would pick Fraxium. I've picked them all year. All of that. But Megan, This is something I find funky. This is the closest thing to a non-WWE match I've seen booked on a PLE in the last 5 years. This is like an AEW match. We're going to look at a bell-to-bell masterpiece. And why in the wide world of sports would you do this if you don't have Briggs and Inamura go over? I'm actually kind of freaked out that that's the direction, because I think the main roster needs Fraxium more than NXT does. And I'm so with you elsewhere on this one, but I'm like, dang it, why else would they do it? What's the point?
If you're that's the thing. That's with the latest releases, it makes me scared when certain people are called up on the main roster, because you bring them up to make room for those in NXT, but you can't find a good story for them. And then eventually they get released. What is her name? Haven't seen her in months, but like Blair Davenport. Blair Davenport, she didn't really have a chance. Last you saw her, she was in the running up for the United States. She was a tag team champion just last year. What is her name? It starts with a K.
Kiana James.
Yes, but James. I think she might be injured, so maybe that's why. But I just feel like when it comes down to some of the NXT choices that has been picked, like Carmelo Hayes, like Lyric Valkyria, their story building was slow to rise. It's like they really didn't know what to do with them, but they try to keep them around. I don't want that to be an issue with Fraxium once they come up to the main roster, because I feel like with the tag teams that is already there, they will get lost or they will eventually break up. There is a reason why A-Town Down Under is now on NXT. There is a reason,
Okay. So. Not to get into a deep A-Town Down Under conversation, but really quickly, we all did watch this NXT episode tonight.
Yes.
Like, sincerely, when are they just gonna stop teasing us and fight each other for real? Like, I get the point of what happened, but Obafemi can whoop both their asses any day. Like what are we doing here?
I guess it's really going to take the fact that neither one of them has held that title and they're going up against each other. This is going to be that breaking point for them, because we kind of saw it. Now, whether they was playing Oba, I don't know. It seemed like they was playing him, but the real feelings was coming out. So
right. Before we get into that, we gotta wait on that. We gotta give away the good stuff already. All right, so before we move on to the next one, I am picking Fraxium just because I don't think that Briggs and Inamura are. This is maybe Inamura's. It'll be his third match on NXT TV. I don't think they're ready to just give him that just yet. And it still just seems like him and Briggs are just not jigging together the same way that Fraxium is. All right, next match. It is a singles match between Javon Evans and Ethan All Ego Page. Yes, this is a singles match, but expect this to get nasty really quickly. Megan, who you got?
I got Javon. I think what told me he was going to win was the little waiver that Ava had him to sign. Pretty much just saying, look, if Ethan happens to come close to killing you in the match, you can't sue us. Your family can't sue us. Like, we have no control over that. So, but I think it goes back to the original point where you said that Ethan doesn't have an issue with losing. And I feel like he wouldn't mind putting Javon over, even though Javon don't really need to be put over. I think he's a pretty hot commodity on NXT. but I definitely see him taking this win.
Hmm.
I see him winning.
No. Clark, what about you? What are you thinking?
If Javon Evans doesn't win this match, in the words of the great Fred Durst of Limp Bizkit, I'm gonna break stuff. Javon Evans is winning this match, period. That's the scoop. That's what's happening. There's nobody else that should win it. There's no other reason that anything else should happen. Javon Evans is absolutely strap a rocket ship to his back and shoot him to the moon. He's that good. Why are we messing around at all? I don't care about his age. I don't care about any of the other stuff. Every single time he gets in there, bell to bell, he's dead money. And he's as good of an athlete as we've seen in the WWE developmental space, period. He's worked with Randy Orton. He got the Randy Orton rub for a freaking reason. He's that good. Javon Evans, no doubt about it. That's where I'm at on that one.
Not bad, not bad. I myself am going to make it 3 for 3. I'm going with Javon Evans. This is a main event feud that he needed, so he could get out of that. I'm just happy to be here. We having great matches of the night stuff too. I'm ready to get down to business. I'm showing you that I got that mean streak. I got that seriousness. I got that intensity that I can be a world champion. Because he's definitely that's the next belt he's going after. He's definitely going into that after that, and he's definitely going to be a major player in the NXT main event scene. All right, next match: the Beautiful Madness, Julia versus our role model Bayley versus the prodigy Roxanne Perez versus the generational leader Cora Jade in a fatal 4-way for the NXT Women's Championship. Megan, talk to me. What are you thinking?
Well, I already said that I feel like Julia is going to retain, but I was spicing it up for y'all. Who do I think is going to eat the pin? Um, Bayley. I think Bayley is going to eat the pin. I don't know. I feel like it's going to be her. I don't think it's going to be Roxanne. I think it's going to be Bayley. So, yes, Miss Julia will retain.
Hmm.
Absolutely. Driz, you want to go first?
Sure, I'll go ahead and get it out the way. I am a believer of hitting the of just paying attention to your surroundings. And that is something that Julia, Bailey, and Roxanne are not doing. I made a big plea for it earlier, and I'm gonna double down on it. Cora Jade is on a roll right now, and it's good. It would take all three of them to stop her from continuing that role and taking that belt. But I really feel like Bailey and Roxanne have too much of an issue with each other to pay attention to it, and I feel like Julia is going to be collateral damage in that because she's going to be trying to stop them from taking her belt. That Cora Jade is probably going to slip in and steal this title, and we will have a new women's champion in Cora Jade. Doubling down on it.
Everybody in the comments here picking Julia. We've seen a lot of Julias. Megan appropriately picked Julia. We have one Cora Jade on the board as well, Driz. And I got to talk about this one. I got to think about it. It's tough for me. Because here's my problem. Everybody was picking Julia, and then Drizzy picked Cora Jade, and I was going to pick Cora Jade. And I'm definitely not picking Roxanne, and I'm not going elsewhere in this match. It's either Cora Jade or it's Julia, and it's who gets pinned because Bayley is not winning the NXT title this way. But as far as I'm concerned, I think Cora gets done. I think it's Cora Jade too. I think it's Cora Jade. I think she pins Roxanne. I think she does. And we get Monday Night Roxanne. I think somehow Bayley's involved and frustrates people. And Julia's excellent. and I think she deserves a longer reign as champion. Cora Jade carrying the NXT Women's World Championship, I think, is worth it right now. And that is no knock on Julia. I understand the groundswell of support for Julia. I get it. I totally do. And that's the frustrating part about this one for me. It's the frustrating part about it being a fatal 4-way, is because she will not be pinned to lose her title. But that's the nature of the beast. I think this time, somehow, Cora Jade gets it done. Now, don't get me wrong. I will absolutely eat crow when I'm fully incorrect and it's Julia. But
how did you
That's
want the crow cooked?
it's just medium rare would be nice if that's okay.
Like,
If you don't mind.
I said, I only go with this because everybody is not paying attention to Cora. And a lot of times it's those the ones you gotta pay attention to.
I think
Those are the ones.
it's the one who should be paying attention to Cora the most is Masha.
That's true.
I think Masha is the one who really, because I think Masha looks at Cora as like a young girl. You know, she's pretty, even though they're about the same age. You know, but you know, she's pretty. She hasn't lived the life that I lived. You know, she more than likely doesn't see Cora as a real challenge. And I think that would be her fatal mistake.
I also think there's something too. How about Cora does both? So she wins that NXT title and then still goes over to TNA. Still does that. Maybe chases, somebody like another belt collector, like what they used to call her, Sasha Banks?
Please
like Mercedes Moné?
You trying to cause all types of issues here.
You know what I mean, though, Megan? Like, right? What if she starts?
That's one of those things. They're not allowed to be in the same space. Like, you feel it's like when you going back into the future and you see yourself and you touch yourself and then you cause like a cataclysmic event. That's what that ends up being. You can't do that. It goes against the laws of physics and time.
Too fast. It's too fast.
Yeah, I mean,
wrestling will explode.
Yeah, we do not.
All right. Our next match that we're going with, the NXT Women's North American title match. Fallon Henley of Fatal Attraction. My bad. I want to say Toxic Attraction so bad. Fatal Attraction versus Stephanie Vaquer. Megan, who are you going with?
Wait, is it Fatal Attraction or Fatal Influence?
Fatal Influence.
The name is terrible. The name is terrible.
It is very.
The name's bad. It's a bad name.
Yeah, because I got their name confused with Pure Fusion, which I guess is no more. But Stephanie back here. I see what they are trying to do when it comes down to Julia and Stephanie. That's why I'm not really sure if they're going to pull the title off of Julia just yet. But if they do decide to give Stephanie the title off of Fallon, I feel like they're getting their money's worth, having them both in NXT and both of them as champions. It would make sense for Stephanie to win because you had her in a match that she won, and then you brought Shotzi in the mix. Shotzi ends up taking her title opportunity, lose, and now Stephanie is getting her shot at the title as she should have from Jump Street. So I'm going with Stephanie.
Clark, what are you thinking? How are you feeling? What's tickling your fancy?
Viva La Raza. It's Stephanie Vaquer. Come on, man. Of course. No way. It's Vaquer for the win. Fallon Henley's been awesome. Fatal Influence is not the move. Fallon Henley was really good as closer to what Fallon Henley was, and she's really good in the ring as well. I actually think she's a supremely talented performer. Stop this. Stop cosplaying as Mandy Rose and doing this with the Fatal Influence thing and all of that. Just put a stop to that. Buck hair goes over here, without a doubt, in my eyes. And then from here on out, let's figure out how to utilize Fallon Henley for what she's good at and who she actually is. And I think it's unfair to her that she's been saddled with this spot replacing something that was also light during a dark time when it came to NXT during the NXT 2.0 era, which was, of course, Toxic Attraction. Oh no, I said it. Right? Like it's like let's give it the good name. It's just silly to me. It's silly goose stuff. And Fallon Henley's never been that. And she's done a heck of a job playing that. But let's figure that out and give Fallon Henley a shot to succeed as well. In some regard, outside of playing someone else's gimmick that she's very clearly not. Right? That's not who she is. And I get we have great things going on in professional wrestling when it comes to stuff like that, and we can talk about Foley's and Tony Storms and people playing who they aren't. But Fallon Henley in this role, I don't think it's perfect, and Stephanie Vauquer goes over. Is my answer to that question.
I hear both of you on that. The first thing I'm gonna suggest before I give my answer is that Shawn Michaels, Mr. HBK, sir, I need you to go talk to the front office of TNA, and I want you to pay them for the name The Influence, because Jesus Christ, Fatal Influence is horrible. Please go pay them, take that name, and call this faction The Influence, because that is 10 times better than what they're being called currently. We can't get it right if they're Fatal Attraction or Fatal Influence or whatever we want to. I don't know. It's too much. Now, I say all that, and I am going to go with Fallon Henley for the win. Fallon Henley, yes, is cosplaying Mandy Rose at this moment in time, but she also has a way of putting her own little stank on it. Still has her countryside to it. It still seems a bit Southern. It's just evil Southern. I don't know. Don't expect me to explain that because I can't. But it's her own little stank. I really believe this group needs a rebrand as The Influence, but Stephanie has struggled with trying to beat all three of them. She doesn't have any backup at this moment in time. There's probably not going to be any Julia because she's going to be getting ready for her match. I don't think So Ruka and Zarya are paying attention to her because there's all types of things going on in the women's tag division. I really think the numbers are going to favor The Influence better. And then with Stephanie can't beat all three of them. And that's what's going to catch her up. So I'm going with Fallon for the win.
Fallon gets the W.
Yes. And we now come to the main event. It is Obafemi versus Austin Theory versus Grayson Waller in a triple threat match for the NXT World Title. Megan, who you got?
Obafemi.
Boom.
That's it.
That's all you need.
That's
all you need.
That's all you need. Obafemi. And the breakup of A-Town Down Under.
Yeah. I mean, if the Stack'em t-shirt from Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 38 was re-available trademark wise, just do that. That's my pick too, Drizzy. It's
Mhm.
it's Obafemi. I mean, what are we talking about here?
Yes.
Obafemi, I've said this a number of times. Obafemi's the type of dude I would accidentally spill his beer at the bar
And
and then buy him a new one right away.
yes, yes.
I'm so sorry, man. That's my fault.
Mhm.
Oof.
I said my pick.
Can
My
I buy
pick.
all of your friends around as well?
Yes, you will. Like yes.
Yeah, like
So my pick. Three things in life are guaranteed: death, taxes, and Obafemi. Ah, that is it. And that is our card for Vengeance Day. Again, this Saturday, Vengeance Day. Don't ask me what time it is because I don't know 100%. But right after Vengeance Day, it will be off the air. You are here with Clark Taylor and the returning Shad will be here. Possibly Megan, we might be able to get you on here. I don't know.
Megan, if you're available,
Yeah.
cordially invited on
Of
behalf of
course.
myself and all of us here at Off
Yes,
the Air.
yes, please come. And also check out everything on the network from Wrestling Off the Air this show to Sunday Night Spotlight to Take It to the Table, sold separately. The flagship show, The Daily broadcast. And
Do we have one more
coming
plug?
soon. Coming soon. One new show coming soon. Be on the lookout for it. Grappling for Positions is coming soon. Wrestling Safe Place. Keep your ass posted.
Okay, wait. Also, wait. Didn't we have one more plug, Megan? Didn't you
We
have
do.
something coming up?
We
I,
do.
I,
We do. Hold on.
Yes, yes,
Hold
yes,
on.
I was
yes.
like, I
Hold on.
felt like
Hold on.
Okay, well, this is a little inside tip. It's not a part of Wrestling Republic, but I do have a podcast called If I May Speak Candidly. Tomorrow, I will be sitting down with an ECW icon tomorrow. So please go and check that out. And Ben, don't fire me. Thank you.
it's Wrestling Republic fam. We're safe.
Okay.
Yes.
We're
Yes.
safe.
Fair to say that's going to be a 420 on
Same
day.
team. Same
Yeah.
team.
But it will be out on Friday.
Same team.
Going to be
You know,
420. It's going to be
it's like
420.
when we're battling for a rebound. It's same team.
Yes.
Yes.
We all try to get
Yeah,
this.
we all get the ball.
We all good.
Thank you.
So, with anything, if our hearts and minds are clear, for Megan and for good brother Clark, I am Drizzy, and we are out. Peace, people.